शुरू करें सर?
हाँ अनुराग जी शुरू कीजिए।
नमस्कार। टीचिंग लर्निंग सेंटर रामानुजन कॉलेज और श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी महिला महाविद्यालय के संयुक्त तत्वावधान में आयोजित हो रहे इस द्विसाप्ताहिक संकाय संवर्धन कार्यक्रम में आप सभी का हार्दिक स्वागत है। आज हमारे साथ डॉक्टर पंकज कुमार जी जुड़े हुए हैं। आप दिल्ली स्कूल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स में भूगोल विभाग में अध्यापन करते हैं और सर आप 2009 से 2014 तक दिल्ली विश्वविद्यालय के शहीद भगत सिंह महाविद्यालय में अपने शिक्षण कार्य किया और 2014 से आप दिल्ली स्कूल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स, जो देश का एक प्रतिष्ठित संस्थान है, वहां पर अपनी सेवाएं दे रहे हैं। बड़े गर्व की बात है कि सर ने वहीं से पढ़ाई की, देश के जो गौरवशाली संस्थान है, और वहीं पर सर अध्यापन कार्य भी कर रहे हैं। इसके अतिरिक्त सर के पास कुछ प्रशासनिक दायित्व भी हैं जो अपने विषय से सर की संबद्धता रही है। सर इंटरनेशनल ज्योग्राफिक यूनियन में असिस्टेंट सेक्रेटरी जनरल के रूप में भी 2020 से जुड़े हुए हैं, जहां पर यह कार्यकाल 2024 तक रहेगा। इंटरनेशनल ज्योग्राफिकल यूनियन में सर सेक्रेटरी कमीशन ऑन बायोग्राफी एंड बायोडाइवर्सिटी के पद पर 2018 से 2022 तक सर का कार्यकाल है, वहां पर भी सर की संबद्धता है। आईजीयू में ही सेक्रेटरी के तौर पर कमीशन ऑन माउंटेन स्टडीज 2020 में सर जुड़े और यह कार्यकाल 2024 तक चलने वाला है। इंडियन सोसाइटी ऑफ रिमोट सेंसिंग ISRS, जो कि दिल्ली में स्थित है, वहां पर सर ज्वाइंट सेक्रेटरी यानी संयुक्त सचिव के रूप में अपनी सेवाएं दे रहे हैं। सर की जो विशेषज्ञता का क्षेत्र है, सर एनवायरमेंट ज्योग्राफी, स्नो कवर, रिमोट सेंसिंग, अर्बन एंड रीजनल प्लानिंग के विशेषज्ञ हैं और इससे संबंधित सर के 20 से अधिक शोध पत्र, भूगोल के जो प्रतिष्ठित पत्र पत्रिकाएं और जर्नल हैं वहां पर प्रकाशित हो चुके हैं। 14 से अधिक पुस्तकों में सर ने अपने अध्याय लिखे हैं जो कि विद्यार्थियों के लिए अपनी विशेषज्ञता के क्षेत्र के लिए काफी महत्वपूर्ण माने जाते हैं। सर ने 4 बड़े रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट में भी अपनी सहभागिता दर्ज की है और सर ने उसका कुशल निर्देशन किया है। सर के कुशल निर्देशन में 7 लोग एमफिल और 6 लोग अपनी PhD पूरी कर चुके हैं और यह संख्या लगातार जारी है। सर के बारे में दिल्ली स्कूल ऑफ इकोनॉमिक्स के विद्यार्थियों की जो राय है वो ये है कि बहुत ही विद्यार्थियों से जो दूरी है वो बना करके नहीं रहते, बहुत मित्रवत व्यवहार, और किसी भी विषय पर कभी भी सर मदद के लिए तत्पर रहते हैं। और सर अपने क्षेत्र के विशेषज्ञता के तौर पर हम आपको यहाँ पर आमंत्रित किए हैं। आपने अपना कीमती समय हमारे लिए निकाला, इसके लिए हार्दिक धन्यवाद। आज जिस विषय पर हम सर के साथ यह वक्तव्य सुनेंगे वो है रोल ऑफ मैप्स इन सोशल साइंसेज एंड इन रिसर्च। जो योगदान है सर का वह इस क्षेत्र में सर अपनी विशेषज्ञता रखते ही हैं। तो हम जो अपना सत्र अभी सुनने वाले हैं, इस सत्र में सर अपने ज्ञान से हमें लाभान्वित करेंगे। मैं मंच सर को सौंपता हूं बिना किसी विलंब किए हुए।
अनुराग जी, ये तो आपने बिल्कुल सही बताया। उससे भी बड़ी बात है कि पंकज जी बहुत ही सहज और विनम्र व्यक्ति हैं।
विद्यार्थियों से भी यही
विनम्रता इनकी सबसे अच्छी निशानी है। एकेडमिक फील्ड में तो बहुत आगे जा ही रहे हैं। अभी पेरिस से लौटे हैं, यूरोप गए हुए थे और लगातार काम कर रहे हैं। और ज्योग्राफी के जो सबसे बड़े नाम है RV सिंह जी, यदि बहुत ज्यादा विश्वास करते थे कुछ लोगों में तो उसमें पंकज जी हैं। तो पंकज जी की अपना एक ओहदा है, दायरा है, और उस दायरे में फिट बैठते हैं। पंकज जी आपका हार्दिक अभिनंदन है। और आप स्क्रीन शेयर का ऑप्शन आपको दे दिया मैंने, आप स्क्रीन शेयर करके आप अपनी बात कर सकते हैं।
Thank you so much, Alok sir and Anurag ji, for my very elaborate introduction. I hope I am audible to everyone.
Yes, Pankaj ji.
Yes, fine.
Loud and clear.
तो बहुत ही अच्छा आपने हमारा परिचय दिया और बहुत ही कॉन्साइज वे में बड़ा डिटेल भी रहा, और इसके लिए आप सभी को धन्यवाद। सबसे पहले मैं धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करना चाहता हूँ आप सभी का कि आप लोगों ने मुझे मौका दिया आपसे इंटरेक्शन करने का, और जो एक छोटा जो एक मेरा जो अनुभव है और उसमें कैसे मैप्स जो है रोल प्ले कर सकता है सोशल साइंस रिसर्च में, जिस पे मैं अपना थोड़ा जो अभी तक का जो थोड़ा बहुत जो नॉलेज अर्जित किया हुआ है उसको मैं आपसे शेयर करूँगा। द मोड ऑफ लेक्चर विल बी मोर इंटरेक्टिव, सो बीच बीच में अगर आपको किसी भी तरह की कुछ पूछना है और कुछ क्लैरिफिकेशन है आप कर सकते हैं बेहिचक। मुझे आप रोक सकते हैं और बातें कर सकते हैं और फिर हम आगे कंटिन्यू करेंगे। अभी मैं अपना स्लाइड शेयर करता हूँ और फिर मैं लेक्चर स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ। मुझे लग रहा है आप सभी को दिखाई दे रहा
हाँ
होगा।
सर,
जी
आप
जी दिखाई दे रहा है
शेयर हो
सर।
रही है।
सही है, क्लियर है, आप सभी को दिखाई दे रहा है मेरा स्लाइड?
जी दिखाई दे रहा है पंकज जी, अभी शुरू किया नहीं आपने, केवल नाम आपका आ रहा है।
आप आपकी स्क्रीन शेयर शुरू हो गई है सर।
जी, मुझे लग रहा है कि कुछ नेटवर्क का शायद इशू है, क्योंकि अभी चेंज हो रहा है स्लाइड।
सर स्लाइड तो नहीं चेंज हो रहा है सर।
1 minute, going to stop again and अभी ठीक है।
सर स्क्रीन शेयर तो शुरू हो गया लेकिन कुछ शो नहीं हो रहा, ब्लैंक है अभी।
हो सकता है थोड़ा, क्योंकि हेवी है प्रेजेंटेशन, तो टाइम लग सकता है थोड़ा
हाँ
सा।
हाँ, ये हो सकता है सर, हम वेट कर लेते हैं।
So, my topic of the presentation is the role of maps in social science research. And as you all are aware that I am a student of subject geography. So in my discipline, we have an advantage to use maps at so many places to represent our data sets, to represent our findings with the help of the maps. And we try to sensitize the other social scientists also to get the benefits of the map when they are going to represent their findings during their research work. So the role of map is now becoming more important in the social science domain. And as you will recall, whenever you see the newspaper every day, you have so many maps or some representing one or the other incidences which is happening all over the globe. So and with the help of the map, we can easily sensitize them and we can easily transfer the knowledge that where this type of phenomena has happened. So my humble submission is that whenever something happens, it happens on the Earth's surface, and the Earth's surface is the domain of the geography. So we try to interpret the phenomena which is happening on the Earth's surface. And is this visible now? It's coming. My slide is coming or not?
तो स्लाइड तो शो नहीं हो रही है, बस केवल यही शो आ रहा है कि आपने स्क्रीन शेयर शुरू कर दिया है।
1 minute. I'm again going to.
कुछ कोई दूसरा एक बार शुरू करके देखिए, कोई दूसरी चीज, क्या पता वो स्क्रीन शेयर उससे दिखे।
1 minute मैंने क्लोज किया है एंड देन again starting. Is this visible now?
नो सर।
Not coming.
नो सर।
Now अभी
सर नहीं, अभी स्क्रीन तो विजिबल नहीं है सर।
नहीं है,
हम्म।
क्यों है? One I'm taking one time.
सर एक बार नॉर्मल कोई दूसरी चीज ओपन करके देखिए, मतलब हम ये देखना चाह रहे हैं कि आपका शो ही नहीं हो रहा है या पर्टिकुलर उस फाइल में दिक्कत है?
Is this visible now?
नो सर।
1 minute अनुराग जी, मुझे एक बार शेयर करने दीजिए फिर से। ये आपको दिख रहा है?
सर स्क्रीन शेयर तो आपकी अभी शुरू, हाँ अब ठीक है सर, शुरू कर लीजिए। अब ठीक है सर।
ओके,
ये दिख रहा है।
दिख रहा है ना?
हाँ ये दिख रहा है सर।
नाउ
सर अभी जो पुरानी स्क्रीन आपकी शेयर हुई थी ना, जो आपका परिचय है, वही खुला हुआ है, वही दिख रहा है।
why happening so?
हाँ सर ठीक है, शुरू हो गया सर। रोल
Okay.
ऑफ मैथ्स इन सोशल साइंस रिसर्च आप शुरू करिए सर। हाँ ठीक है सर।
ओके फाइन, थैंक यू।
बाकी प्रतिभागी भी एक बार बता दें, आप लोगों को स्क्रीन शेयर शो दिख रहा है ना? एक बार चैट में लिख दीजिए आप लोग। हाँ सर ठीक है, वहां भी शो ठीक है सर, अब हो रहा है शो।
थैंक यू। So my lecture framework will consider these topics. Like first, I am going to have a brief introduction about what I am going to speak here, and definition of importance of cartography and the map making, and how this map making and cartography, science and arts. I will try to give you a brief about what are the important aspects which we have to consider when we are going to prepare a map, and how we have moved from a traditional cartography or map making to a digital one, and that is now a very popular term is the GIS, Geographical Information System. And what are the application of this map making in the social science research? How we can, which type of domain we have where we can use the map frequently to do the analysis of our result and representing it in a very effective and in a very communicative way. So as I have already told you that all the activities of human being is associated with a space, and that is maybe the area or a location on the earth's surface. So we try to see or investigate the relationship between man and environment. So the geography definition also talks about that the geography is basically dealing with a spatial and temporal aspect of man and environment relationship. So we are living and we are living in an environment. So we have to see which type of relationship we are having, and we will try to interpret in a framework of a space and time. A very important person in the field of history, that is known as father of the history, Herodotus, given a very popular statement, and the statement is that all history must be treated geographically, and all geography must be treated historically. There is some meaning attached with this, and the meaning is that when we are looking the phenomena on the earth surface or any happening on the earth surface, and only we are looking the location on the area, that is not complete. So we have to add the temporal aspects, as the nature is very dynamic, the changes is very fast. So we have to incorporate that change also in our purview of study. So how we will incorporate those change? When we have to incorporate those change, it means we are going to add the temporal aspect also. So we have to do the trend analysis, and trend analysis of something which is happening on somewhere on the earth. So the earth or the spatial aspects is attached with that, and with that spatial aspects we are also taking care of the temporal aspects also. So clubbing together, we generally try to make a holistic approach of looking the man and environment relationship, and we try to navigate all these man and environment relationship using the maps, which is a very effective tool of geography, and which is our advantage, and the digital cartography in the modern time has also revolutionized our subject and popularized our subject, and a new discipline has come up from that, and that is known as the remote sensing and GIS, because of the availability of so many data and so many open source platforms, and also the cloud computing, the growth of internet, the artificial intelligence, and all these things are driving us also together to move forward as a discipline which can contribute into the social science research. And the base or the core of that is the map making, or interpreting the map, and looking how we can prepare, how we can synthesize the arts and science of map making in a good way, and can transfer this to the other discipline students or researcher scholars also, so that they can effectively use this tool. One of the oldest and very popular branch of geography is the cartography, and that is known as the map making. And you can find here that there are several maps you can come across when you will try to search, and different museums are having different copies of these things. And so you can find that even 700 BC or 500 BC, you have a Babylonian map of the world. And then you can find another right hand side, this American Geographical Society library is having a map for the whole world drawn in 1452. So we have a very long history of the cartography, and that was a very popular branch of study during this Roman Empire, during the Babylonian civilization and all. We have a very good history. From that we can trace to the development of cartography or map making in a very effective and in a very authentic way. So if we are talking about uh, what is the map, a map is a symbolic representation of selected characteristics of a place, usually drawn on a flat surface. Map represents information about the world in a simple or visual way. They teach about the world by showing sizes and shapes of countries, locations of features, and distances between places. So maps can show distribution of things on the earth, such as settlement patterns. They can project location of houses and streets in the city neighborhood. So with the help of the map, you can navigate, you can go from one place to the another place, which you generally do every day. We have the GPS in our mobile phone, and we try to navigate where we have to go and what is the best suitable routes we have. Best suitable routes in the terms of the time, so minimizing the time and also avoiding the traffic congestion and all. You are getting every day and using this information for navigation, for going from one place to another place. Everyone has having their own mental maps also. So we try to develop our mental map for our neighborhood. Maybe that is not on in the printed form, but in your mind, from your perception of your neighborhood environment, you develop a mental map, and every you use that mental map to navigate into your community, to find out the temple, to find out the mosque, to find out the your hospital, to find out the academic institution, to find out your relative places and all. So with the help of this navigating potentiality, and also to locate something which has happened on the earth surface, like have a water logging in my vicinity, nearby area, I can easily make a mental map where that water logging has taken place, because I'm acquainted to that place. I'm regularly visiting the area, so I have developed my mental map also. So map making is a process associated with the actual production of maps, and cartography in the broader sense uh, is broader than the map making, which including the study of the philosophical and theoretical rules for map making, including the study of map communication. So how effectively you can communicate to the community. The art, science, technology of map making maps together with their study as a scientific documents and works of art. In this context, we may be regarded as including all types of maps. Like there are different way of categorizing the maps. So in this context, we have a different type of maps. Like we have the plans, we have charts, and we have three-dimensional models. We have the globe where we represent the 3D Earth surface, the celestial body also at a different scale. In this geography, we have two types of data sets, and that is one is the spatial data that is attached with the space, as I have already told you, that in map making, we try to first find out the location or the area which is fixed by the latitude and longitude, and that gives us a picture, or that gives us a frame where we fix our spatial data. So we have a different type of a spatial data, like we have topography, topo sheets, we have land use, land cover maps, we have soil maps, we have geology maps, administrative boundary maps, agroclimatic maps, weather maps, all different types of maps are there. And then we have the aerial photographs. So the aerial photographs are basically the photographs taken by aeroplane for looking from the top to the below. And or maybe nowadays it is popular that we are using the drone for unmanned vehicles also, UAV, for these aerial photographs. And then we have the satellite. So a government of India sends satellites. There are some dedicated remote sensing satellites, so they capture the reflectance of the Earth's surface, and then we convert them into usable data format and then share to the community. So different type of satellite images we have. And we have the attribute data. So the one is the spatial data, where we have a very specific location attached with that data sets. And then we have the attribute data, and the attribute data is basically the information, additional information related with the spatial data. So we have a volume of data, and every day we have addition of more and more data in the form of analog maps, in the form of aerial photographs, or in the form of satellite images. And because the global community is coming together to share the data set, the volume of the data increases enormous. And so for handling these data sets, to prepare a map is a big challenge. How to handle this data and come out with a very effective map. So, and that requires the classification, that requires the tabulation, that requires so many processing and pre-processing of the data sets. So all these components we take care nicely when we have to prepare a good maps through which we can effectively communicate to the users, okay, whatever we want to communicate. So we have the two type of basically data. One is the spatial data and another is the attribute data. What the cartographer does, cartographers are basically the map makers. They are called cartographers because they create maps of different purposes. We have different type of maps, like for vacation people, those are going to for any type of field work, they generally have a route maps they require. So we have a route maps. We have meteorologists, they are the scientists who study on the weather maps, so for that they prepare the weather maps. City planners, for their use, prepare the city maps or the planning maps for real estate development and all this activity. So there are different types of maps, and we can club them into two categories. The one is the based on the scale, another is based on function. So the based on a scale, we have a small scale maps and we have the large scale maps. So, and in the large scale map, we have the political maps, the physical maps, thematic maps. These are based on the function. They are the political maps, physical maps, and thematic maps are based on the function. But the based on a scale, we have the small scale maps and we have the large scale map. Some of the glimpses of all these maps I can show you here. The route maps, very popular. Generally, we use every day when we are using the metro rail. So we have the Delhi metro route maps, and easily we can see from where we have to go and from where we have to change the metro to go to a respective location. These maps generally in geography we fix it that there should be a scale, but for some convenience purpose and to fix it into a specific size and frame, these maps are not on a scale also. Okay, so this type of maps are very popular. Then we have the weather maps where we use the many parameters of the weather, like where which type of rainfall conditions are there, which type of temperature conditions are there. Here in this weather map, the wind speed and velocity and the pressure has been given, so you can easily see where is the low pressure and where is the high pressure. And generally we have the information and we know that the wind start flowing from the low pressure to the high pressure area, from high pressure to the low pressure area. So in this way, you can easily identify in which direction and which at what speed we are going to have the wind, and this is going to affect our all weather phenomena. So we have the population map where we have the state boundary and all these things. So my submission is that whenever you are going to use the map, you try to get the base map from the Census of India, and that is basically the authentic source for all preparing the all other map from there.
सर एक मिनट रुकूंगा, पार्टिसिपेंट्स कह रहे हैं स्लाइड चेंज नहीं हो रही, एक बार स्लाइड अगर चेंज आप करें जो।
Yes, I am changing it at my end.
अच्छा, यहाँ सर चेंज नहीं हो रहा है असल में।
Again I have to stop and is this coming now?
हाँ यस सर, ठीक है।
So this is basically the routes map. Yes, are you getting my change?
Yes sir, अभी इंडियन डेली वेदर रिपोर्ट वाला शो हो रहा है।
Indian weather report, and then we have the population map of India. So we have the political map, we have the weather map, we have the routes map, and so different types of maps we prepare for different specific purposes. Okay, and these can be used by anyone for their own narratives, developing their own narratives, for their own description, for their own analysis, and also coming out with the result in the map form again in an effective manner. So as I have told you, on the basis of a scale, we have a large scale map and we have a small scale map. I'm not going too much into the details, just to have an idea. And on the basis of the function, we have the physical maps and the cultural maps. So you may have come across at the +2 level where we have the relief maps of the India, geological maps of India in the course of geography. Climate maps are there, soil maps are there, political maps are there, population maps, all these are there, and you are more familiar. I hope you are all familiar about all these things. So maps are very effective tool to communicate. We have these maps from the NCERT. My slide is going well.
Yes sir, अब ठीक है।
Okay. So we have the India relief, we have the India physical, we have India political, all these maps we prepare, and it's a very effective way to communicate the things which we want to communicate. As I told you that we have the mental maps, so mental maps are also very important. Maybe mental maps are not having all the components of map, because map is where we should have a scale, we should have a grid, we should have a legend, we should have all other things which are the components of the map. But these mental maps are very important because whatever we do, whatever the activity we perform on the basis of the perception which we have developed in our society, in our locality, in our vicinity, in our environment where we are staying. So that perception is very important in making the mental maps. And from the childhood, we start developing this mental map for each and everything. why it is important to have a cartography and the map making, because if you, as I have already told you, that maps are everywhere. So whatever the things is happening, whatever the phenomena is happening on the earth surface, we have to depict it on a map, and then we have to describe the things, and it will give the users a clear picture where the thing has happened, and what are the situations earlier and what is the situation now. So it is easy to make a map today, but it is difficult to make a good map, because map is also we have a science, and we have an arts, and we have an ethics attached with making the maps. So many people make maps of dubious quality, so less people are trained in cartography and map design. And so my humble submission is, whenever you are going to use the map, you try to use map prepared by the government agencies, because they prepare map with while taking into consideration all the aspects of map making. So ethics of map making is a very important aspects to consider in this. And when we are planning for going for preparing a map, these are the semantic representation, and this should be in our mind, that the whole process, like for planning, we should have a purpose for which, for whom we are going to prepare the map. So any research scientist from the social science discipline, those are going to use, maybe historian, maybe sociology people, maybe the political science people, or maybe the anthropologist, if they are going to use the prepare map for themselves, or maybe taking help of any cartographer to prepare the map for themselves, they should clearly identify all these aspects. Like there should be a purpose. As you know, that whenever we are going to have uh, a research, a planning for our research, when we are going to have a framework of our research, we try to develop this type of framework. And the same applies to the map making. So we have the purpose, and the purpose should be a very clear one, for whom we are preparing the map. So if we are preparing a map for maybe the political scientist, definitely we are going to focus on the political boundary. We are going to focus on the cities. We are going to focus on the state capital and all other things required for them. The topic for which they are preparing the maps, the format, in which format we are going to have, A4 size format or bigger size of the maps we are going, and what are the audience who is going to read this map. So the audience is very much important, and according to the audience, we have to keep information into the map canvas. So whatever information is going to be there, or elaboration, or some additional information we are going to put into the whole canvas of map, it depends on the audience whom we are going to sensitize, or whom we are going to pass the information. So after planning all these things, we are going to have data analysis, because you have the data, and the basis of the data, we will do the data analysis. So for first task is collection of the data, then we are going for the synthesis, and after refining the data and finding the accurate data for your study or analysis, we are going to do the analysis. And the analysis will be presented in the form of layout. Generally, the map where the map which we send to the users is in a layout format. And so we have a typical layout for a map, like we have the title, we have the legend, we have the scale, we have north, and all these things we keep into that layout. So and we have to see, like where we are going to present, like it will be presented on a projector or a monitor or a paper form. So all this define which type of presentation we are going to have, the final presentation of the map. And definitely we should go for critique and editing before the production. So when you prepare your map, you showcase it to the community, those are cartographers, so that they will see the final output, and they will critically analyze, assess it, look it in their own perspective, and will try to find out if there is any mistake. And if there is any mistake, they will point out, and you have to minimize that mistake. And then final output you have to put into the production system. So why it is art? Because 3-4 things we have to do, and the 4 things are the selection, classification, simplification, and symbolization. So the art in map making is the cartographer's ability to synthesize the various ingredients involved in the abstraction process into an organized whole that facilitates the communication of the idea. So maybe if I am taking the whole census of India information for my Himachal Pradesh, maybe my study area is Himachal Pradesh, but for Himachal Pradesh, I have taken the whole population of all the districts. But my concern is that I have to go for only Lahaul and Spiti district to look into the population and the migration pattern and associated problem. So what I will do, I will try to segregate and I will try to classify the information and come out with and simplify the things in to come out with the information which I required only. So the selection, classification, simplification, and also when we are going to put or transfer the data in the map form, we have to choose the symbols. So the symbol representation of the symbols should be in accordance with the data. If the symbols are a big size or very small size, maybe you are not going to represent what you want to represent. So you can easily identify from these 2 maps how the large scale map versus the small scale maps has been depicted here, and you can find so many information. Sometimes is very confusing. In the left hand side, the map is looking very confusing because of so many information. But in the right hand side, you can easily identify the road network, you can easily identify the houses and all. So it depends on which type of information you require for your study. If your study is focusing on a small area, then definitely you are going to have many small information, but you have a large space to depict the information. But if you have a big area to depict on the map, definitely you have to segregate or which information I want to keep into this frame and which information I don't want to keep into that frame. So that is also important aspects, how to select the things, how to classify the thing, how to simplify the thing, and how the symbolization has to be taken care of. Some of the elements of map making, if we are talking about the maps and the role of maps in social science research, we should not forget that there are some elements which should be there in the map. So if you are using the map, you should have at least you should check the information those are listed on the map canvas, and that is the title. So title should be a very clear one, so that looking the title and users can easily identify what the map is saying or what the map is willing to communicate. Then we should have a legend, and that legend with additional information about whatever the things depicted into the map. For that, the symbols and all will be placed in the legend. And then we have the scale bar, that is very important, because in the geography, if you have to qualify or if you have to say that this is my map and I have prepared as a cartographer, as a geographer, the scale should be there, because a scale gives a representation of the paper map with the real ground location. So the representation should come and establish in exact manner when you have the scale bar. Then you have the date where when you have prepared this map, the north arrow, because you have to show the alignment of your map. So with the help of the compass, we try to see where the north arrow is there in the map. Then you have the neat lines and source and nodes. So source and nodes are very important, from where you have taken these the data sets for preparing the map. Or maybe if you have taken some others map, like they have already published it and you are taking for your purpose, you have to cite them so that there will not be any issue of ethics or maybe plagiarism and all other aspects. So all these things you have to, and then you have to give additional information like who is going to use this map, for whom purpose you have prepared this, or who is the authority, or who is having the right on this map. All these things you will find. So if you will typically see a census of India map, or maybe the survey of India maps, you will come across with all these components very clearly mentioned on the topographical sheet maps. This is a typical map of Odisha, which I prepared in my master's program. You can easily identify here that we have the legends, we have a clear-cut title, we have the scale. The legend can be a 2 or 3 depending on the components which you are putting in the mainframe, and then we have the subset also. So in the subset, I have kept the soils, vegetation, area under each soil region. So for that also you have to go for the specific region and all, and then you will find here a boundary all along the map, and on the boundary we have the latitude and longitude mark. So with the help of the latitude and longitude, you can place this map on the real world situation. On the globe, you can identify where this area lies on the globe. And so the latitude and longitude is very important to give the scale, to come out with the scale, and to have a cross reference from the real world situation. Another aspect of this scale is that whenever you are doing some analysis, you are trying to come out with the maybe length of the area, width of the area, or maybe the length of the river, and you have how much vegetation area, how much area of the water body. All these things you are going to come out and try to get this data in a quantitative manner, but that is possible when your map is having the scale. If your map is not having the scale, it means you are not going to perform the geographical analysis. That is the basic component things which we have to take care. What is the code of ethics? The code of ethics in map is basically it should be always a straightforward agenda and have a defining purpose or goal for each map. Always strive to know your audience. Who is your audience? Going to be the map reader. Is this going well? Is this going well? Like my...
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Slide continue, karen, sir.
Okay, fine. So don't intentionally lie with the data. Sometimes we, for our purpose, try to manipulate the data sets and come out with the result which we wanted or we intend to communicate, and that is the thing which is the manipulation, and so that should be avoided. Always show all relevant data whenever possible. Data should not be discarded simply because they are contrary to the position held by the cartographer. And so I will show you 1 or 2 examples here why I'm saying these things. At a given scale, strive for an accurate portrayal of the data. So you have to simplify your things, and so that accurately you can communicate the things. The cartographer should avoid plagiarizing. Report all data sources. So you have to report from where you have taken the data. Symbolization should not be selected to bias the interpretation of the map. So you have so a symbolization means taking a symbol to represent the ground world reality in the map is very important aspect. So you take the symbol appropriate and to the size of which you are going to represent. The map results by other cartographers. You try to come out with a map where other cartographers can decipher the information from your map, and they can develop as much possible data sets from your map also. Attention should be given to difficult cultural values and the principles. So you have to respect the cultural things and not. Whenever I'm going to use this application in social science research, this map making, I always focus on these 2 dimensions. That is the spatial dimension of the study and temporal dimension of the study. And now, because after this this whole purpose of making the map in a traditional way that we used to develop the map with you know pen and paper and all these things. We try to come out the map, prepare the map. We still do these things, but now the thing has changed because of the computer and because of the softwares development and internet growth of internet and all other machine technology. We have changed our traditional way of map making to a digital platform, and that is known as the digital cartography. And we also say the GIS, geographical information system. So in this geographical information system comes the digital cartography. So what is it? There is no easy answer of GIS, but GIS is basically a geographic information or geographical geospatial information where about the places on the earth surface, which I have already explained you in the definition part, and it gives us knowledge about what is where and when. And don't forget the time, because I have already told you that there are two dimensions which we focus. One is the spatial dimension, another is temporal dimension, and so the time gives us the temporal dimension. So we try to see a development of whole cartography or the traditional way of cartography to the GI infrastructure, or we can say the digital cartography. And we have a very typical evolution history of all these things. It started from 1960, and it is going till now. And if you go by the stages of the development, you will find here that we have three stages, three components, time frameworks like technical environment, major users, and major application areas. And we have a till now we have a three different stages. That is the formative years, measuring technology, and the GIS infrastructure. So 1960 to 1980 was basically the formative years. The measuring was basically 1980s to mid 1990s, and after mid 1990 to till now, we have a GI infrastructure, or we can see the GI science domain or paradigm. So we have in 1960, 1980s, if we'll see the technical environment, big size of computers were there, proprietary softwares were there. So software were not freely available to anyone to work upon and prepare a map. Proprietary data structures were there also. So storing the data, they developed their own structure, and so it was not freely available to anyone. Mainly raster-based GIS. Basically, raster-based means satellite image. Okay, so we want generally people started using more the raster-based GIS, and the users were there, the government, university, and militaries. No public private users were having accessibility of this technology, the digital cartography. And the application area were also the land and resource management. So whenever the government has to come out with their assessment of their resources, they start employing these digital cartographers to go for land and resource survey. And the census was also using this one in the developed world, and surveying and mapping for this also they use in the developed world only. It came later to the developing world. 1980s to 1990s, basically the mainframe computers were replaced by the mini computers. There was one development of geo-relational data structure, and that resulted into clubbing both. As I have told you, there is one spatial data, another is the attribute data. So geo-relational structure made it possible to store uh, attribute data and spatial data together into the computer system, and that revolutionized and came out with another component. Here you will see the raster based, now added the vector based GIS. So the digital cartography is having two components. One is the raster, another is the vector one. So the vector came later. And gradually the GPS and all other came into the framework. So you have in your mobile the GPS, and with the GPS you go for collecting the location information and navigation information, all these things. So the GPS came at that time, and it also revolutionized the way we are looking and using our GIS technology. Major users again were the government, university, but some businesses, houses, and some utilities. For some utilities purpose, they open it into the public domain. But the application were more or less, apart from adding the market analysis or facility management, more or less it remained in the hand of the government, okay, and the military. But mid 1990s, everything completely opened into the public domain. And because the system also, the computer system, the workstation and PC came, and so we have, and so many softwares came, network and internet facility developed, open system design came, so anyone can develop your own software by using the codes given by those software developers, openly thrown on several platforms. So multimedia development, data integration development. So now that there is a so softwares are having the data management tool also and map making tool also. So gradually the technology developed, and with the help of the technology, the digital cartography or digital making of maps also developed. Digital making of map is nothing but making of map using the computer system and also the software. So we are now not going for the paperwork or digitizing by hand and stressing on the tracing sheet, developing the whole boundary and preparing using the pen and paper. But now we are trying to do it directly on the screen of with the help of the software and with the help of computer and other technology. And gradually it came into the public domain. And if we'll see here, the users, the application area also increased. So facility management, so management people are also coming in a big way using this one to try out to find out the best suitable warehouse location, the way all these things. So locational advantage, market analysis, utilities, geographic data browsing, all this came into a big way. And now another frame has come up, and that is after 2000, maybe 2015. We can say that we have now OpenGIS platform, OpenGIS infrastructure stage, where we have all the open platforms. The governments, different government organizations are sharing their data sets openly to the different open platforms. Like we have core data, we have big data platforms, and from there you can take their data sets, you can do the analysis. Even the journals which are publishing your research work, they are asking for the data, and they are putting these data sets on their own repository. You can easily ask them to give the data. They are sharing you the data which already others have prepared. But you have to go for looking the code of ethics. Whenever you use some others data sets and all, you properly mention or the source from where it has been taken. There are open source softwares now, so we no need to have a proprietary software, no need to purchase the software. We have QGIS, Saga GIS, where so many softwares are now available openly on open data platform and open software platforms. And we have the cloud computing nowadays. No need to download the software in your computer system, but with the help of the codes and all, or script writing, you can do directly on the cloud platform. And the best example is the Google Earth Engine. So the Google has come out with the Google Earth Engine, where you can do all type of map making and analysis using the codes and using the some even the tab also. Okay, so the things are moving very fast and becoming very handy, becoming very approachable to anyone, any social scientist. Only you have to investigate 1 month trying to build a concept, trying to build all the idea about the things, where I can get the data, where I can get the software, how we have to do. And within a month or 2 months, you can be a master of using this cartographic technique or making of maps. Okay, so it is now becoming more easy day by day. So what is this digital cartography or the GIS? As you may have come across with this term, the geographic reference plus information system. So it is trying to club two systems. One is the geography and another is the information system. What information system does? Information system try to store the data in an effective manner so that whenever I need to extract the data or retrieve the data, I can easily retrieve from where I have stored it in the system. So it is trying, and the geographic reference is basically giving a frame to your data sets, to your map, where it lies on the ground. So giving a latitude and longitude or the scale of the data sets is the geographic reference, where we are fixing it with a particular location. And information system is basically whatever the data you are collecting. Whenever you try to do any type of research or develop a proposal, as I have told you, that you have to collect the data. You have to go into the field, collect the data, and when you come with the data, you try to tabulate the data, you try to classify the data. After classification, you make them in an appropriate format and store in a system, or maybe Excel. That is a good example of information system. So you put it into the Excel, and whenever you have to retrieve it, you again retrieve those sheets and work upon that, do the analysis, come out with the result in the form of the table, in the form of the graph, but that can be converted in the form of map also. So the GIS is doing what? GIS is trying to fix one, geographic data, geographic data sets, spatial data, and also the information, additional information or the attribute data which you have collected from the ground. Maybe that can be a GPS data also. That is also the locational data or the geographic data. So with the help of this GIS technology, you can now easily develop your map for your specific purpose. Maybe some people of history departments are interested to go for new sites, a study of the new sites, and they want to have a plan for starting the investigating the sites, and that can and the historian can develop their own map for that purpose. A social scientist or a sociology people can go into a villages and try to have so many samples from that villages. They can come out with their maps where they have to go, in which villages they are going to visit, so they can show through the map very effectively where the samples has been taken from with the help of the GPS you already have in your mobile phone. Nothing you have to do. You have to take the location from where you have your respondents belong, and you just come and transfer it into our GIS environment, give a background image to that, and automatically your GPS will synchronize that map into the georeference base map, and you will get the picture of from where you have taken your respondents view. So this is a basic simple example. You can do some advanced study also and use the map for your analysis and representing the data. So in a nutshell, the geographic information system is an interdisciplinary field of knowledge comprising geography, digital cartography, computer science, mathematics, image processing, pattern recognition, digital photogrammetry, and remote sensing. So many things together, we term it a geographic information system. And it becomes geographic information science when we are going to use the information which we have derived, like we have prepared a map. For what purpose we have prepared the map? The map is going to be taken by decision makers, or maybe the administrative persons are going to use that map to come out with a decision. So if the map is going to be utilized by them, some of the institutional mechanisms are there and they are using it for benefits of the society, then it becomes the GI science. So not only the digital cartography, but a big sphere of GI science is very important to understand when you are going to use the map. Not only preparing the map and printing the map and just communicating someone that this is my finding, but your finding should be in a way that it should go to the larger audience, and that audience can take the decision based on your finding. So a system of integrated computer-based tools for end-to-end processing, like capture, storage, retrieval, analysis, and display of data using location of the Earth surface. That is one a spatial thing. For interrelation in support of operation management, decision making, and the science. So a set of integrated tool for a spatial analysis encompasses end-to-end processing of the data, capture, storage, retrieval, analysis, modification, display, uses explicit location on Earth surface to relate data, aimed at decision support as well as ongoing operation and scientific inquiry. So one of the best example of this is that if you have sometimes, suppose we have the Kedarnath disaster, and at the time of the disaster, what happened? So much damage it created because of a huge amount of water gushing into the valley and breaking everything which is lying in front of that water. So what happened? So many damages took place, and there were landslides, there were avalanches in the nearby area. So the government of India wanted to know where the landslide has taken place, where the avalanches has taken place, where which type of damage has taken place, so that we can rebuild the infrastructure in that region. And for that, they started developing a map with the help of participatory GIS. And what is this participatory GIS? That the DST, Department of Science and Technology, came out with a very ambitious program, and that is known as MANU, Mapping Neighborhood. And then in this MANU project, what they did a very simple thing. They started developing a collaboration of academic institution in that area, like Kumayu University, Garhwal University, some other institutions, Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology, IIRS, Indian Institute of Remote Sensing, Dehradun, and they hired some of the students, those who are doing post-graduation course, and they given them a Samsung mobile phone and an application, app-based. It was application was there for download, and with the help of the application, these students, they navigated into the whole area. They went into the area for 1 month, and they were roaming around in the designated area for those people, and they were taking the pictures. Like we have a landslides, and in front of this landslides, they took the pictures and they upload it directly on the Bhuvan platform. Bhuvan is one of the platform developed by the government of India, just like the Google Earth we have. So for government of India, for their own specific purposes, they have developed the Bhuvan platform, and it is being managed by NRSA. So that is going to be on the platform directly, and that is becoming the part of the repository. A basic thing, which is just taking a map with the latitude and longitude position where this has taken place on the Earth's surface, will generate a so enormous amount of historical database that in future, if you want to investigate something, you can take these historical data sets and you can come out with the conclusion that these are the locations where at the time of the Kedarnath disaster, something happened, landslides happened, avalanches happened, road damage happened. It means these are the probable sites again. If this type of disaster is going to come, they are going to occur in this area. These are the probable area where again the landslides is going to come, where the government has to focus, where the government has to make some type of embankment, some type of structure development, so that they can minimize the damage. So this has become a very effective tool. And the students were not from the geography department only. They were from different departments, having a basic knowledge of GIS, Geography Information System, or taking the photograph, uploading it directly on the platform. So this is one of the example of the participatory GIS or map making, and how this map making can contribute in a larger extent to the analysis and to research for the social scientist. And how to lie with the map. So there is one example, and we have different type of projection system in the map. So if you are choosing one or the other projection system, maybe you are going to have more area for a specific country, or going to have a less area for a specific country. You can find here, this one is the grid. Are you getting my cursor? My cursor is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes.
So this is the area where you can find the grid. The size of the grid here and size of the grid here is completely different one. So the representation of something in this grid and representation of something in this grid will not be equal in size. Now it is up to us, the cartographer, who has to decide which type of projection system he has to choose to represent something. Because in geography, in projection system, we have the three things which we generally represent. One is the area, another is the shape, and the third one is the direction. And there is no projection system available at the world, global level, scientific community, which can represent the three into exact form. So we have to compromise, or we have to check the projections, take the projection system depending on our purpose. And that is why I told you that whenever you start using the map or preparing the map for your specific purposes, try to first locate the purpose for which we are going to do this research or do this map making, or who is the audience, and what is the specific purpose through which, for which we are going to make the map. Here it is very much important to showcase that whenever we have to go for doing our study, we have to take the Census of India map, and that is why I have given here the link of the Census of India. What we generally see here, the disputed area. So in this Arunachal, in this Aksai Chin, Siachen, Pakistan, administered Kashmir and all this. But forget about all these things. Whenever we have to do a research work and represent in Indian point of view, we have to do the Census of India map. When I go to China and present my work, when they present their work, they have their own narrative and they use their own map. So we have to go for the code of ethics for using the maps when you are going to use the international boundary. Whenever you have some international boundary lying into your study area, you try to use your own position and your own map. And that is the basic thing for looking. Like we have used this in Himachal Pradesh. I mention here the source. Census Handbook, Himachal Pradesh 2021. 2011. So I always prefer to use the Government of India map to develop my own map upon that. So the base map should be either the census from the Census of India, or by the Survey of India, or the NATMO, that is the Thematic Atlas Mapping Organization, and they are in charge of developing our maps with all ethics and all cartographic techniques, making of maps, the scientific approach they adapt to develop their map. And you can find it here that the latitude and longitude is very much important in the first map, that is the administrative map. So whenever you are going to use in your research work the administrative map, don't forget to use this latitude and longitude, the title, north, scale, legend, or if you have some subset, that for the subset also you have to go for subset title, the legend and the scale and all these things. And a very appropriate technique you have to use when you are going to have depict something in a increasing order and in a decreasing order, that you will come across when you are going to use the map and you are going to see in all detail nitty-gritty of how to develop or how to symbolize the maps using the digital cartography techniques. So why use maps in social science research? There are 5 basic questions which a geographer try to explain. And the basic is, the first one is what exists at a particular location. So we are very much concerned about the location, the spatial location. And that spatial location is very important. Whenever we have a cyclonic incidence, whenever the cyclone comes, we try to find out the location from where the cyclone originated. And then we try to navigate where the cyclone is moving, in which direction cyclone is moving, and where it is going to hit. So that is the location. So a particular happenings, if something, suppose if there is a landslides, where the landslides has taken place, what is the particular location? And where can a specific features be found? We can make a query also. We can develop a question and query. We can investigate where these things I can find. Where we have more than 100 centimeter rainfall in India, where we have highest production of corn in India, where we have, which are the area where we have highest production of potato in India, which are the area where we have different type of crops, different type of specific, maybe some specific problems also. We can identify that one. And we can come out with a trend or what has changed over time. So now we have come into a domain where we are talking about the temporal aspect. So not only investigating the location or not only finding the where and what, but also the trend. How in a specific time framework the thing has developed. So this involves in answering both the question. For example, at what locations are the crop yields showing declining trends? Where the crop yields showing growing trend? Where which type of, where the tourist population in Himachal Pradesh is increasing? Where the tourist population is decreasing in year by year? So all these things we can investigate when we'll see the temporal data sets, and we can link it with the spatial. So on the map, we can plot this one, and that can be very effective. The two things you are incorporating in the same frame. So you are having a spatial domain, you are giving the distribution, and also you are giving the trend analysis. So a layman also can easily understand what you want to say and effect in a very effective manner with the help of the map. And what a spatial pattern exists. So if occurrence of pests is associated with a hypothesized set of condition of temperature, precipitation, humidity, where do these conditions exist? So we can find out the pattern also. In maybe in the cornfield, if this much temperature will be there, this much precipitation will be there, this much humidity will be there, this type of disease likely to be occur in this area. I can make a scenario, I can make a query, and the system will give you and identify and give you the area where is the possibility, where the landslides can happen. A site suitability analysis you can do, where I can build my houses in the mountain, which will be not problematic in future, where the landslides will not happen, my house will not be damaged. All these things, looking into the slope, looking into the precipitation trend, looking into the past history of landslides and all, looking into the geological condition, geomorphological condition, any other folds and faults crossing in that area. All these we can take and make a scenario, and we can say that please give me the information for that, and a map will come up with the information. And then the last thing which geographers are now coming and dwelling upon of this issue is modeling. What if the situation will remain same, if the global warming or climate change is looking like this one, and if in future also if the same pattern will be there, what will be the scenario of snow cover in the Himalaya? What will be the scenario of agricultural productivity in Haryana or Uttarakhand or maybe in other areas? What will be the impact on supply of bioethanol? What will be the impact on some migration or migratory pattern of the birds or migration of the human being? So all these things, so many things we can do, and we can model easily with the help of the data sets, and those data sets are nowadays freely available, so many, for meso and macro level studies. Maybe for micro level studies you need more investigative data sets. For that you can generate while doing field investigation, but for meso level and macro level you have so many platforms where you can extract the data. there are so many other uses of where the local government activists estimated to be geographically based: plants, zoning, public works, garbage collection, land ownership and valuation. All these things can be done easily by looking the land use land cover, where which type of land is lying, and on the basis of that the government can come with the decision of land ownership and land valuation. So they can raise the land rent for some specific area, and they can decrease the land rate for some specific area. For public safety like fire protection and all this, the local government can do analysis using your map. A significant portion of a state government has a geographical components, and that is the natural resource management, highway and transportation. All civil engineering people or those who are developing this plan and policies, they are using very effectively the cartographic techniques and maps to represent the things which they are going to develop in future, or to do the present analysis. The businesses nowadays are using the GIS and map making for very different type of use, which were not earlier possible, and that is the retail site selection. So maybe I have to go for maybe the Vedanta, or maybe some other hospital want to have another hospital in Delhi. Which location will be suitable for them? They can go for locational analysis, and where they will get the minimum threshold of population that will sustain that that establishment. So railway also come like this one. They do this analysis and all for the, and the logistic, how what will be the best suitable route for my logistic support services. So I can develop a logistic support services, and I can track the route of my vehicle and give them a best suitable route, so that they can minimize the time to approach to the customer, to approach to the warehouse, to approach to the collection center. So all these things the map and GIS gives the advantage, and then the management people are using this one. So we published a paper in a very high impact journal, and that is looking into the how the bioethanol supply chain is going to be affected with the climate change scenario, different scenario, and we model that in United States how this bioethanol supply chain is going to be affected by looking all the supply chain network, and we develop that maybe the grass other bioethanol mechanism will be beneficial when the bioethanol supply chain is going to be affected. Natural resource exploration you can do. The petroleum engineers are using this one. The precision agriculture, which the government of India is coming out with this. Before having the harvesting season, generally our agriculture scientists come out with the yield, how much this time the grains are going to be in our granary, and on the basis of that the government are devising our policy, budget and everything, that this year there will be a good monsoon, good agriculture, good productivity, good demand from the public, so good economy is going to drive. So all these things are very much when you have a good temporal maps for the agricultural productivity, or using different type of data sets, then you can do this agriculture precision. Civil engineering and construction peoples are, I have already told you, that using this map in a better way. The military and defense, very much everyone is aware how during the time of any class or during the time of any border issues, in the newspaper you may have come across with the maps depicting both the side locations and how which type of strategy our government of India is taking, and which type of strategy other are having, and how we can who is having advantage of topography, who is having advantage of physical condition and all, disadvantage and advantage. All these things they try to give to the users the information in the form of on depicting on the maps. And we have satellite image for all these routes of different type of hazards, and maybe the floods are coming. So what is the inundated area, how much area will be flooded, we can easily map, and that can not only be used by the geographers, that can be used by the social scientists or the sociology peoples also, to look into the migration pattern, to look into how they are dealing with the day-to-day activities and all. So it's very much being used our these tools and techniques by the geology, the botany, anthropology, sociology, economic people, political science people, epidemiological and criminological studies. So they are all using this one. One of the example I have cited here, this Uttarakhand government has done a lot of work on a lot of work for using GIS technology to investigate some of the aspects. And so the local government, real estate and marketing, public safety and defense, natural resource exploration, transportation, public health, other geospatial industries are very much associated with this map making and using this tool in a very effective manner, with having all the ethics, code of ethics intact with that map making. So you have examples from applied mapping, urban planning, management and policy, civil engineering, business, environmental sciences, education administration, real estate, healthcare, political science, in redistricting, analyzing of election results. So at the time of the election results, you see how they are depicting the map, with the map, how they are depicting each constituency's results, and with the wealth of different colors and all. And that is very impressive. So zoning, housing renovation programs, emergency response, crime analysis, tax assessment, site selection, as I have already told you, location, underground facilities, how we have to go for different neighborhood analysis, traffic impact analysis, all we can do with the help of the map. Some of the case study I wanted to have. Do you have time?
सर थोड़ा सा है, अगर जल्दी हम इसको थोड़ा सा कंक्लूड कर लें तो आप कर लीजिए सर.
Yes, case study. I just wanted to give you this picture. You can see easily here how in 1984 and 2012 the snow cover of the Arctic has declined. You can see from here the other one for the other regions. You can see here how the Greenland has developed this one, but I can see this one only. I cannot identify the area, how much the lake has increased. Do you identify with the help of looking this image? Anyone can come out with the exact area, how much this lake area has increased, how much the snow has declined? This is not possible. This is possible only when we are going to make it a map with the help of where we have a scale, where we have latitude and longitude. When we have the scale, then we can identify that this much area of the snow cover has declined. This much area of the lake from 1990 to 2017 has increased. So we have done a spatial and temporal aspects of the snow cover. This is the area where we are working, and you can easily see with the help of the map that around 8% of the snow cover area has come out, has declined from 1989 to 2011. So you can easily depict the change, and a very basic analysis you can do. You can easily look into the picture, and you can come out with the conclusion how the the snow cover is declining in my study area from 1990 to 2020. How the land surface temperature or the vegetation is increasing in my study area. How the agriculture, the yellow patches are increasing from 1992 to 2020. And you can do how the land surface temperature is increasing. All this type of study you can do using the maps. So map making and interpreting the map is a very good art and science through which you can come out with so many. In other discipline, people also use hazards and disaster study. You can look into the glacial lakes phenomena. In 1956, this much, and the lake has increased. Only you can do you can interpret qualitatively that the size of the lake has increased. But when you are going to do, when you will prepare the map for that, you are going to investigate into a very detailed way. Very detailed way, like what is the area, what is the depth, what is the volume, and if there is some outburst, what will be the water volume in the valley. All these things is possible when you are going to make the map. When you will prepare the map, you are going to get all the details about the length, area, volume of each and everything. Okay, so this is important parameters for doing some analysis and coming out with the result and showing it in a very effective way. So I studied this to Dipangat Lake, and another is Samut-Tapu Glacier Lake, and how the lake area is increasing. You can see. And when I will make the map out of these images, I can identify how much area has increased during this time from 1989 to 2020, how the sizes of these glacier lakes in the Himalaya are increasing and how they are threatful. So we have a Parichu Lake outburst, we investigated that one, and we come out with this conclusion only possible by making the maps in a very effective way. And you can also navigate into your area, roam around into that area, and with the help of the GPS, you can come out with the location where the damage has taken place. We did the same thing, and we mapped and prepare a map, and this will sensitize the people more effective way that okay, this is this type of damage we are getting because of this landslide. The whole the village has been washed away because of this glacier lake outburst flood. So we mapped on the road network or all along the river where which type of damage has taken place along the Satluj, along the Spiti river, and we can communicate to the government organization that you have to come out with this policy where you can increase the adaptive capacity, you can minimize exposure, you can minimize sensitivity, and if you are going to improve the adaptive capacity, we can move ahead in achieving the sustainable development goals for this one, for the area. This simple map making has identified this cholera outbreak in this area. Okay, so this was in the London's Broad Street region when 1854, Dr. John Snow, when the cholera outbreak started, he has started pinpointing and mapping the all probable source of the cholera outbreak, and then he identified the hand pump while looking into the cases and mapping nearby the cases into the area, and he came out with the conclusion that this is the hand pump which is having the problem, and because of the contaminated water of this the cholera outbreak in this vicinity is going on. Another additional advantage of GPS and map making is that you may have come across with this thing that because of the collar-borne GPS, the tigers travels, we navigated and we came out with the map of this, and this was published into and shared by the Press Trust of India on December 1, 2019, that the trigal travels 1,300 kilometers over around 130 or 150 days across 6 districts to search for its love. So how it is possible? It is possible only because of the navigation technology, because of the making of the maps, traversing the whole routes, and then coming out with this area, how much it has traveled. So in conclusion, I can say mapping is one of the effective tools to communicate the research findings. Map making is both art and science, and cartographers should follow code of ethics in map making. Multifaceted, multidisciplinary social science research widen a scope of use of maps. Open source data, softwares, and cloud computing has revolutionized use of digital cartography in open resource. Okay, so I hope that some of you may be sensitized and will use the map, different type of map, to showcase your result into your research work if you are involved in any type of research or the projects or whatever. Okay, so I have some of the publications related with some of the aspects. Thank you very much.
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद सर. रोल ऑफ मैप इन सोशल साइंसेज रिसर्च, जिस विविध तरीके से और जितने बहुआयामी तरीके से आपने इस विषय पर बात की है, हम बहुत आभारी हैं आपके. और जो बात हमें पता चली थी आपके बारे में कि कक्षाओं में आपकी जो तैयारी होती है, वो आज के इस वक्तव्य में हमारे सामने नजर आई कि किस तरीके से जो आपने खास तौर पे भारत के संदर्भ में, विश्व के संदर्भ में भी आपने बात की, लेकिन भारत के संदर्भ में जिस तरीके से आपके स्लाइड्स रहे हैं, उससे आपके परिश्रम का अंदाजा लगाया जा सकता है। और आपने बहुत सुंदर तरीके से इस विषय पर अपनी प्रस्तुति दी है। बहुत समयवार तरीके से, क्रमबद्ध तरीके से आपकी पूरी स्लाइड थी, हम लगातार देख रहे थे। बहुत रामानुजन कॉलेज और श्यामा प्रसाद मुखर्जी महिला महाविद्यालय की ओर से हम बहुत धन्यवाद आपको ज्ञापित करते हैं। हमारे प्रतिभागी यहाँ पर हैं, अगर आप लोगों के कुछ सवाल हैं तो आप अपने आप को अनम्यूट करके सर हमारे साथ हैं, आप पूछ लीजिए। अगर चैट बॉक्स में भी लिखना चाहते हैं तो आप वहां पर लिख करके सर से अपने जो आपकी शंकाएं हैं वो एक बार जाहिर कर सकते हैं।
Please welcome, your comments are welcome.
आप में से अगर किसी का भी प्रश्न है
We will be happy to help you in learning this map making. If you are going to use in future some of the components of maps, I hope if our colleague will help you to prepare the map and use it into your research work. So we will be happy.
राजू जी, आपका कोई प्रश्न है क्या? लगातार इंफॉर्मेटिव सेशन और इस तरीके के मैसेजेस आ रहे हैं, तो अगर कोई प्रश्न नहीं है तो इस सत्र को हम यहीं पर समाप्त करते हैं। सर, आपने अपने व्यस्त कार्यक्रम के समय में से हमें इतना समय दिया, बहुत आभारी हैं हम आपके।
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to interact you all. And again, I have a humble submission that if you are willing to use the map and try to learn some of the techniques, how to prepare basic maps, I will be happy to help you all. My students will be happy to help you all. So please don't hesitate to write us. Okay. We'll try to manage some of the time to transfer our map making and using the maps in your research work in your domain, because you may be having different domain peoples are there. So we need your information, how which type of maps you want to utilize in your research work, and we will happy to help you out.
ठीक है, बहुत धन्यवाद सर। आप सभी ने बहुत संयमित तरीके से सुना, आप सबका भी हार्दिक आभार। सर, हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि आगे किसी और ऐसे सत्र में आपसे बिल्कुल